What's up, everybody? I just wanted to show some 3D prints that I've been working on. I got the Flash Forge Adventure 3 from Amazon, and it was basically a plug and play model where you didn't have to actually put the 3D printer together or anything like that. I will post the Amazon link of the model that I got in the description below. I will also post up in the description the video that kind of sold me onto it. And I got a lot of help from people. And one of them, it was from Tyler from 3D Printing Forge. He answered a ton of questions and pointed me in the right direction. And I used the Flash Forge Slicer program. I believe it's called Flashpoint. I could be wrong on that. And I just watched a bunch of videos on YouTube, and I just wanted to show off some of the stuff that I've been printing. I do have a Marvel Legends J. Jonah Jameson here for comparison to kind of show you the size. Now, the thing about this with 3D printing is you kind of have to do trial and error. What you think might scale doesn't scale, and sometimes you scale things too large. But the process in itself is very fun. I will say that when I changed out the filament, the PLA filament that came with the Flash Forge, with a new spool that I purchased off Amazon, the prints came out very bad, very brittle. The layers weren't hard, I guess you could say. I'm not good with the 3D terminology, but I just Googled like images and stuff that wasn't working on the prints, made some adjustments when I sliced it, and I dialed it in with this particular filament that I'm using. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to have to do that again when I change it to another filament. So it's just a lot of trial and error, but I'll be honest with you, the results and figuring it out is quite fun. I thought it would be frustrating, but it is not. But yeah, it's just a fun little thing, and I'm glad I got into it. I wish I had gotten into it sooner, but it's neither here nor there. But one thing I did come across that was kind of rough was if I printed on the 3D printer on the bed, straight onto the bed, without like a raft up under the object that I was printing, it didn't do so well. And then I was having issues where the raft was too hard to take off from the object. So again, in the slicer, I made some numbers adjustments from the object to the raft itself, where it was easy to separate. And like I said, it's just a lot of Googling and just asking folks, and it's very fun. I wish I'd gotten into it sooner. I wish I hadn't have been so hesitant, but that's neither here nor there. So we have J. Jonah Jameson right here, and he's going to help us show off some of the stuff. So one thing that I printed was this right here, because I wanted to get this to use with dioramas and whatnot. I'm not the best diorama maker. I mainly just enjoy doing them. But here is a window frame, as you can see. And this particular model, now I haven't cleaned up any of these because I've been mainly just printing right off the press. As soon as one gets done, I make another. I've given a couple of prints to some friends, you know, at no charge, you know, just sharing some of the objects that I've made. And yeah, so this is a window for a diorama. It can come out. I guess you could probably put some swivels on it and make it open and close. But let's get some of this background out of the way. So yeah, you could put that in a diorama, and it'll look pretty good. So I made two of those. So we have this one and this one. One of them didn't do so well. I believe it was this one that I had trouble getting it off the raft, and you'll see some other models on here as well. But this is the same style window, and just for comparison, here is J. Jonah Jameson looking out the window. And again, you see these strings and stuff. That is basically adjustments that had to be made onto what you were doing. And now you can get rid of those when you're cleaning it up with either an X-Acto blade, a hair dryer, or a heat gun. Right now it doesn't bother me because I'm not using it at this particular moment in a dio. But yeah, so, you know, it's just trial and error on some of these things. This one right here, my wife enjoyed this one and she kind of helped me put it together. Now it did have, I believe, some window frame units, but because this was a small print, it did not form right. It did particularly like this one, right? Let me see. Right here, if you can see, some of the lines weren't too bonded together, so you had to make some temperature changes and whatnot. But what's cool is this one actually opens up, and this was all on one file, and I get a lot of the files from Thingiverse right there. So you can use something like and you can make this bigger, longer, whatever you want to do in the dimensions with when you're doing the slicing. But you can put some plastic material from the packaging of a Marvel Legend or whatnot on there, sand them down, you know, give them an OPEC look or whatnot. But it's pretty cool how they open up. And again, there you go. J. Jonathan looking for Spider-Man. He's a menace. So, yeah, that one's pretty cool. My wife really liked that one a lot. This is the window that I like the most. I did 2 of these. A gentleman made this and uploaded the file onto Thingiverse. And they were replacement windows for his daughter's dollhouse. So I really like these because they're just, you know, they're just well made. I mean, they're very hard. I didn't have to make many adjustments with this. The filament, I want to say, is at 15-20%. And this is the translucent of the filament that it came with, the 3D printer. And you can see it's like a translucent. So here's J. Jonathan again to give you an idea. Looking for Spider-Man again. He sees him. He's pointing. So yeah, these will look good in a diorama in my opinion. So really like that. Next thing I made was this one right here. This was a gas jerry can. And first of all, it would not come off the raft hardly at all. This is part of the raft that's on here. But again, this is an old jerry can, so it could be battle damaged or just an old warehouse and whatnot. And then one of my dogs got a hold of it and was running with it. So again, it's just battle damage, but you can see how it scales with J. Jonah Jameson. And yeah, it's pretty dope. He needs some gas. Everybody in America needs gas right now. So we have that. Now this is a better version. When I made some differences with the bed and the raft, and it came out a little bit better. So and I did use supports when I was using it in the slicer. But again, here he is. Here's the jerry can with J. Jonah Jameson right here. So that's pretty dope. Now this right here did not come out the way I wanted it to come out. In here, let me see, you probably can't see it too well. Right here is the spout and a hot and cold handle for a sink. Now these were originally attached to the sink. And here it is with J. Jonah Jameson, a little bitty sink. But it fell apart when I was taking off the supports. Again, this was way too small compared to what I wanted. But it just shows you how small that the PLA printer can do. Because a lot of people use the resin printers for smaller scale stuff. That one is way intimidating looking. But if I make this one again, because it's a good file, I liked it. I just would like to make it a little bit bigger to have. These 2 simple blocks is what is already preloaded onto the 3D printer to test your, I guess, your settings and whatnot. So I kept these. They could be used in a diorama for something. I don't know yet, but they're just 2 simple blocks. And what I wanted to show you too is on some things that you print, this is what the raft looks like right here. And it's basically like that, where it prints the raft first and then this small square on top of the raft. And you just peel it off. But what I like is I could use these like that right there tells me that's like a hazardous placard on the back of a truck or something. So I could definitely find use for the fodder that is off of the 3D print. So I was real happy about getting that because, you know, I want to recycle into my dioramas and whatnot. Now this right here is a fire hydrant. It's hard to tell because of this translucent red filament. This is it scaled next to J. Jonah Jameson, and it's way too small in my opinion, but it'll work in a diorama, don't get me wrong, but it'll work. But I'd like to make this a little bit bigger, but definitely a little bit wider in the base. But yeah, there's a fire hydrant right there. Now, this was very impressive because I don't know if you can tell what this is, but it's actually like a kitchen sink or bathroom sink, but it's mainly like a kitchen sink. And what I like about this, you know, I could put this in the background, like right here, if I'm doing a diorama. Let's get this bad boy next to J. Jonah Jameson, so you can see. Damn, it's kind of hard. Let's see. There we go. To give you an idea. There we go. So it's about the right scale. But what was so impressive was this was off a PLA printer, you know, and it's the smallest object other than the handles off the sink that I just previously showed, but by itself. And I'll be honest, I was too nervous to get the supports off. My wife got them off, and we had a good little laugh over it. So the next thing I made, now I made these under the red filament, but I gave some of them away. But these are toolboxes that are 1/12 scale. Now, this is the first objects I made when I changed out the filament. And let me see. Okay, this was the last one I made. This was number 2. All right, this was the first one I made. Now, this was before I made any adjustments in the slicer program. I was doing great with the red translucent. Then I ran out of that filament, put the new filament in, which was this black kind. I forgot what it was exactly called or whatnot. But you can see right off the bat, I was having issues. Like, oh, well, first, let's get J. Jonah Jameson in here. That's the size of the toolbox compared to a Marvel Legends right there. And it doesn't open. It does have a handle right there. Now, it does show the lines and whatnot, so you'll have to smooth that out. I have seen where people have used some sort of bonding material to smooth it out with. I haven't tried that. But this is a toolbox. And you can see where it just wasn't, the layers weren't doing too well. And basically, I'm not good with this because I'm learning. And second of all, I'm not sure if I'm right. But when I was Googling some of the description of what was going on, the temperature of the bed was too hot, which was causing this to melt. And basically, it was a temperature issue. And it was causing these misaligned layers. So that was the first one. So I Googled this. I found some images that were similar to this. So that was a no-go. And then we went with, I think, yeah, this was number 2. I made some adjustments, and it's just as bad. So at this point, I was getting a little frustrated. I'm not going to lie to you. But again, I Googled, went back, looked. This was the next copy. It's bad, but it's not as bad. And you can see right there, I had some images, some issues with it, as you can see from the image. So I was getting kind of frustrated. So I kept playing around, printing more of these toolboxes, chunking them. And finally I got it dialed in. So I tried a bigger object, and I've already gave 2 of these to a buddy that does dioramas. And this is a wall urinal. Put it next to J. Jonah Jameson. So right there. And this turned out real well. You can see the edge is a little messed up a little bit. Of course, I haven't sanded or done any type of prep work to these. I'd like to paint them. And I mean, it's just, it's solid. I mean, it is very solid. Here's the water pipe that goes into the wall. And yeah, it scales perfect. So I got 2 of these right here. If you wanted to do a diorama of a bathroom, hitman scene or something like that, I gave these to 2. I gave 2 of these to a buddy that does a lot of dios and action figure photography. So I can't wait to see what he does because he's real good at painting this kind of stuff. So we shall see. The last 2 things, well, we'll do one at a time. The last 2 things are some window type ventilation units, and I'm trying to go as quickly as I can. I try not to make these long videos. All right, so this is scaled next to J. Jonah Jameson. If I do another one of these, I would like to make it a little bit bigger because this is a ventilation unit for like a warehouse or whatnot. So it doesn't really matter the size, but it was hell getting some of the supports out of here, and you can see it's not too pretty. Of course, I could probably take a small file and whatnot. Again, I haven't cleaned up any of these, but that'll look great for a dio. But if I do one of these, it's definitely going to be bigger. You know, I don't think size matters when it comes to a ventilation unit. Let's see. So, but yeah, this turned out pretty good. The next thing is another type of ventilation unit, and I guess it's like an air duct too. But the thing about this one was I printed it, like if this was the bed, I printed it straight up like this. So it started from the bottom and went to the top. And I think on another one that I'm going to do, because however I use this, this part will be kind of glued or magnetized on a dio. So I think I'd rather have this as the part that is setting on the raft and build it from this up. Because right here is not as good. That's where the vent is, and that's where my raft was setting. So I didn't like the way this turned out, but just to give you an idea, I definitely can make this bigger. But of course, I'm limited on space because on the Flash Forge Adventure 3, you only have so much room. I want to say it's 150 millimeters length, width, and height, but I could be wrong on those numbers because I can't really recall. But it works perfect for the stuff I want to use it for. But of course, I would like to go bigger with this. But this will work great in a dio, either just, you know, attached to the ceiling, on the roof of a building. I love the mold details. I guess it can't really be considered a mold because it's not a mold. But anyway, I like the details. I like this pipe that's along the side. There's another one that's similar to this. It's a little bit more basic. I'm going to try to make it, but you can see the fan right there. You can use some sewing mesh to put on top of that to cover the blades. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do with this. And this is, I guess, like some sort of control panel for it. But yeah, this will work great like in a dio or whatnot. As you can see, like right here, that's a vent from a peach tea container that I did. But it works. But just to give you an idea, it can be like along your wall, like that. Of course, you can paint it, do whatever you want. It could just be sitting somewhere, you know, down on the ground. It could be anything you really want it to be. But yeah, looks real good. I'm real happy with it. And like I said, if you're on the fence on getting a 3D printer, definitely just go ahead and do it. I wish I had pulled the trigger a whole lot sooner. I was so intimidated with the hardware and software, but YouTube videos helped me. Again, I'm going to link on Amazon the model that I got, and I'm also going to link the video of a review of a Flash Forge that really made me pull the trigger, and he did it right out of the box. So until then, please like, comment, subscribe. I will be doing another video for some stuff I've been picking up off the Whatnot app and Macari. And it's a pretty good haul. It's some older G.I. Joe type stuff. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the 3D printing perspective of this. I'm really enjoying getting back into the dio stuff. I'm really enjoying the 3D stuff. If you enjoyed this video, just give me a like. And that's about it. Put in the comments which was your favorite thing that I made. Mine is this. I'm not going to lie. I love the wall urinal. When I showed a buddy at work, he said we ought to glue it to the men's restroom right next to the normal one. And we might just do that. Thanks. Later.